According to German magazine Der Spiegel, the NSA secretly monitored the United Nations internal video conferencing system, reportedly decrypting the network at the UN's headquarters last summer. This new information came out from documents Der Spiegel obtained from NSA leaker Edward Snowden. Within 3 weeks of gaining access to the UN system, the NSA had increased the number of decrypted communications from 12 to 458.
I think to the extent that anybody's worked up about this, it's the same people who've already been worked up. I haven't heard a whole lot of outcry in Washington yet from other people who've been worried about the scope of the NSA's powers so far. I think it's really troubling because at this point, I don't think we should be really talking about transparency with the NSA. I think we should be talking about the appropriate scope of the NSA's surveillance activities. And this is not the first piece of information, as you just stated, Mike, that we've received from Edward Snowden about the United States spying on its allies. We actually already knew that had been something that had been revealed by previous Snowden stories, and the reaction was sort of some anger from official anger from European Union officialdom. The German government was sort of wagged their finger at the United States, and then the Obama administration basically said, countries spy on each other. That's kind of part of the game. And then you look at what the British government's been doing against The Guardian, in particular, the crackdown against the paper that's been publishing most of the really big Snowden stories so far. And it seems like most of the key U.S. allies here are really joining the U.S. government in cracking down on not only Edward Snowden, but the publications that are publishing information that he has given them. And that strikes me as really troubling. This is exactly the sort of information that I think an informed public debate requires to be informed. This is not the sort of thing that requires some sort of government crackdown. But the more Snowden stories you have, I think right now, the more you're going to hear people in the Obama administration, the more you're going to hear conservatives, hardline, militaristic conservatives in Congress saying this just shows even more so that we need to have more powers to crack down on these whistleblowers and fewer free speech protections.
But why decrypt the UN? I mean, that's something that, or in their conference calls, that's something that is mystifying to me, unless they think there's terrorists in the UN that they have to figure out who's been planted there by Al-Qaeda or something. I don't understand why you should do that.
Right. I mean, why also spy on the UK and the German governments who are close U.S. allies? There are all sorts of trade talks and things that go on both at the UN level and at other levels where the U.S. government can enhance its negotiating position by bugging the people who are engaged in what they believe to be private talks. It just seems like in general, even under the most benevolent of circumstances, when you give new powers to authority figures, they're going to want to use them. And if they get the ability to spy on the UN, well, why not? What harm could be done? Since after all, these people think of themselves as being good, benevolent leaders who are going to take care of things. They're not going to do anything bad. They're not going to abuse these powers in any way. They're just going to gather this information, and if it can be useful in any way to the government, they'll use it. And I think it's really important to ask, as a matter of fundamental public policy, what sorts of tools we want to give surveillance operators. Is this really something we want the United States government to be doing? I think there's a really great case to be made that this is just not really useful, that it's not improving the safety of anybody, and it's just creating international problems when other countries find out about it.